Hello, my name is Agatha Simões, and this is the continuation of the story of Victoria. Uh, I'm also showing you a drawing that I did. It's kind of abstract. I called it The Explorers, and so it's to me it's like those little red dots and those little black dots go in search of new world. They're also searching for this egg, and some of them get lost, and some of them go and explore new worlds. This is how I see it, okay? So let's continue. If you're interested in this, do send me an email to dunyazade@gmail.com. So let's continue. The story of Victoria. This is a true story. The names are aliases. This is a story told in Portuguese Brazilian by Dani Bugion in her channel Sobrevivendo na Turquia. But this story is so insane that I felt it needed to be translated into English so I can share the insanity with the entire earth. Okay? So if you haven't seen this is the story of Victoria, again an alias, and how her mother-in-law from hell ended her almost 10-year marriage. Okay? So if you haven't seen video 1 and 2, just go and check them out. It's insane, okay? And this has a long way to go, let me tell you, okay? So, like I said before, so she filed for divorce, Victoria, and every day, even though she still loved Mustafa is also an alias, she loved him less and less every day, okay? So eventually, I think they met. Mustafa, her soon to be ex husband, suggested to Victoria that she would have their child, a baby boy, by the way, which is really important in Turkish. I'm telling you, it's really important when it's a baby boy to have him in Turkey. Yeah, yeah, isn't he clever? Isn't Mustafa clever? No, 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 absolutely not. Danny said immediately. The story that I got from Danny Bugion's. If you do understand Portuguese, go to her channel and search for Victoria. You'll be in. It's anyway. Anyway, so Danny said no. I think everyone listening in also screamed no. Uh, she says, Victoria, that since watching her channel, Danny Bugion's channel, Sobrevivendo na Turquia, her YouTube channel, by the way, there's no way she'd have her baby in Turkey. There's no way. Okay? If you don't know why, please be very attentive. Okay? It has nothing to do with Turkey whatsoever. It's a whole other thing. Okay? It has to do with the Hague Convention. I think I said Haya before because that Haya it's like Portuguese translation. So, uh, side note, like I said, this has to do with the Hague Convention. If Victoria would have her baby boy in Turkey, she'd be stuck in Turkey for the next 18 years. This is what happened to Dani Bugion. She had her child in Turkey. She was with her child and her husband in Turkey. And then a few years later, the marriage didn't work out. They divorced and she couldn't leave. She could not leave. Okay, she was stuck there until her son is already 18 years old. Okay, so this is all very messy if you marry, if you have like an international marriage. Okay, I'm not saying, no one is saying don't do it, but be aware of the possible complications, okay? So you can prepare for them. So Victoria, decided to have her baby boy. It's going to be a baby boy in Brazil. And this is the possible best choice, okay? The father, Mustafa, does have parental rights. So she'll have to deal with this man for at least another 18 years, okay? At least another 18 years she has to deal with him, okay? I don't know if I mentioned before, but she is a doctor, but also She has her own business. She didn't reveal what business she owns, but she's a successful woman. Okay. Um, Basically, Victoria doesn't want to be raising her child in a house filled with fighting. Okay, so she's not gonna stick at us. Try to make the marriage work. She doesn't want her child to grow up in a house where she'll be fighting with her husband because of the mother-in-law and so on. Okay, to her, she now knows that mental health is superior to love. This is really interesting. Okay, take note of that. Mental health is superior to love. I'm gonna have to agree there. Okay. So Danny again tells her to have her child in Brazil, in order to avoid a possible extradition order from Hague. I'm going to explain this a little bit, okay? Has to do with where is the country where the child has their everyday life. Okay, that's more important than where the child was born, according to Hague Convention rules. Okay. So eventually, Victoria did went back to Brazil. Mustafa came up with another idea. Okay, he insists that she would live in London. Okay, okay, we can live in London. Like you can live in London, I live in London. We will live in separate houses, says Mustafa. Well, isn't it brilliant? Another brilliant idea from Mustafa, isn't it? Um, Danny comments that if she does that, she will never come back to Brazil. So she'll be stuck. She'll be stuck. Okay? So how does the Hague Convention works? For those who don't understand this, not that I did, now I know a little bit better. So wherever the child, the baby, lives their formative years, wherever they live their formative years, let's say that he was born in Turkey, but he lives his formative years in London. So London is the most important place. England would be the most important country. Okay? And if it really doesn't matter exactly where the kid was born, but more where his support group is. Okay? If she has the baby in Brazil, but then moves immediately to London, okay, even if they live in a separate home, let's say they live there for like 5 years, this will be their habitual residence. Meaning, let's say something awful happens, like the mother-in-law gets crazier and crazier, and Victoria is fed up and she wants to come back to Brazil with her child before the school starts. Well, Mustafa can actionate. Well, he can go in and go to the court and mention the Hague Convention and say, no, 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 my son's formative years were here. He has all his friends here, all his life here. He cannot leave to Brazil, okay? Even if he was born in Brazil, it doesn't matter. So that's the mess with it. That's the big mess with the Hague Convention. And most of us, I would say, don't know this. And if you are going to marry a foreign man or woman, you need to know these sort of things. Okay? You need to know this. So, and another thing, okay, let's say that they are living in London, but let's say that Mustafa just decides, let's have like a short trip to Turkey, from London to Turkey, to go in and spend a little bit more time with grandma, He might be there forever. Victoria might never see her son ever again. Okay, even though Turkey also signed the Hague Convention, the thing is, it might take years and years and years, and lawyers and lawyers and lawyers in order to extradite the kid back to London, and meanwhile, the child is having his life, with grandma. Do you understand? This is really, really bad, okay? So, and the father is Turkish, and it doesn't, it could be that the case would be, the judge, also being Turkish, would take the father's side, Anyway, so the advice to everyone, from everyone and Danny to Victoria is that you need to stay in Brazil. You have your child in Brazil and you stay in Brazil, okay? And just staying in Brazil, you avoid any of this from happening, okay? So can you imagine? I'm just thinking here. Can you imagine if the mother-in-law gets to raise her grandson? How she would poison his mind. The lies she would tell him about Victoria. Oh my god. Anyway, continuing. So, another update was made, and Victoria informs Danny and everyone who's paying attention in the channel that the mother in law is coming to Brazil. She decided to come to Brazil. Okay? I'll put all the links there. They will be in Portuguese, but if you understand Portuguese, you can go and see. Okay, so again, to remind you, Victoria is 30 years old, and Mustafa, her still husband, is 35 years old. Okay, they had like a relationship of almost 10 years, or 10 years, like a marriage of almost 10 years. So the thing is, Mustafa agreed on the separation with Victoria because probably, and this is what a lot of people think, because probably he already started a relationship with Yasmin when they went and visit Turkey and stay there. They stay there for 20 days. And every time Mustafa would go to his mommy's house to have some tea, Yasmin would be there. And he would take her home and he would help her out. Do you understand? So maybe they already started the relationship then. Okay? Another thing, so the owner of the channel Sobrevivendo na Turquia also says, and this makes more sense to those who are actively connected with this sort of subject, like the Hague Convention and couples, and children. But from the point of view of Danny Bouchian, Mustafa is probably already being advised by a lawyer who knows about the Hague Convention. So, because, Mustafa went to Portugal. Before she went to Brazil, Victoria spent some time in Portugal, and Mustafa went and met her there. Okay, and he then asked her for her to have, okay, you can have your child in our child in Brazil, but please move to London. So this kind of means, from the point of view of Danny, that he probably is already being advised by a lawyer. So he's thinking that in a way of how can I take the son away from her? I don't. I just feel that this guy doesn't love her anymore. Did he ever love her? I don't know. I don't know. So what do I think? What do Agatha Simões, what do I think? I think Mustafa wants to have his wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to be cool with his mommy and his family, okay? Because he doesn't have the strength to go against them. He's weak, my opinion, okay? He wants the baby boy, okay? Also, he wants to marry and have kids with Yasmin. He wants everything. I don't know, he's weak, in my opinion, and strategical. He never defended Victoria properly. He should have defended her properly. This is just awful. So imagine he gets all of this, okay? Like 2, 3 years down the line, he's miserable. He wants to come back to Victoria or have some sort of quote unquote agreement. And if Victoria dreams of rebuilding her life, marrying a second time, it probably says something like you can't see. You would not say it so directly, I would imagine, but something like you can see our child if you do that. If you want to get married, I don't want little Mustafa to be around your new husband. He would make something up. That's what I think. Okay? So he would keep her, how do you say, frozen in time as much as he could. He would control her. That's what I think. So one can wonder, does the apple fall far from the tree? I don't know. So then he tells Victoria not to accept any type of pension from Mustafa, because apparently he also offered a pension, and because that would be another way of controlling her, not allowing her freedom. Not to emit the child's passport, because Mustafa could easily take it and kidnap the child and leave. Even though the Hague Convention would be actioned, it's the same thing like I said before. It take years and years and years, right? And meanwhile, the kid is being, for instance, raised in Turkey. So where would the kid's formative years would be? Do you understand this? Do you understand the mess it is? So again, like I said, just imagine he being actively raised by the grandmother. Oh my God. From the father's side, the evil mother-in-law. Also, another advice that Danny offers is to always have someone present every time the father comes to visit his son. So, Victoria's mother, a babysitter, never to be alone. Okay? Victoria already has a lawyer. Again, this happened in the beginning of 2024. This story is a year old. Okay? And it gets more insane. So just stick around. Okay, stick around. So Victoria already has a lawyer who specializes in these types of cases. Okay, and her lawyer advised her of the following. Okay, these are very good. So this is free for anyone who thinks of having a kid, marrying a foreigner, and having okay. This just pay attention to this. Okay, so do not go back. Do not go back to London. Do not go back to London. Don't go back to London. Okay? Do not accept any pension or the flat, the apartment that Mustafa was offering, because apparently he was offering also an apartment. Do not allow Mustafa's parents to come to Brazil and be alone with Victoria's baby. Don't allow that. Okay? To avoid any type of kidnapping. Do not have the baby's passport. Then he even says, don't get it. Don't get it later. Wait until he's 16 or something. Do not get it. Have an agreement in place in what concerns the baby that is okay for both parties. I don't think that would be possible, my opinion, but okay. Also, this is very important. Eliminate any social media account. All social media, just erase it. Do not have social media, okay? Because it could be used against Victoria to take away her guardianship. But if she wants to keep some social media, never post anything about the child, never post anything about the baby, or even about her private life, like posting photos of her in parties or in trips without her son, or supposedly without her son. because let's say she's in France, okay, and she's having, I don't know, like a wine tasting, or I don't know, having a croissant with chocolate, with, yeah, croissant with chocolate and a little cafe, a little coffee, and there's no kid. So the dad goes nuts and just runs straight to the lawyer, you know. So don't have socials, okay? Never tell Mustafa, another advice, about any minor fall. He fell, he hurt his knees, or he has a little bit of flu. Never tell him, okay? Also, very important, don't have another relationship so soon. Even if it's serious and leads to another marriage, because they can use anything against her and try to take away her son. If Victoria ever decides to get her son's passport, and if she ever decides to do that, she should never sign permanently her son's permission to leave the country. Apparently, there's like a stamp you put on it where if like mother and father are okay with each other and no one is going to do anything crazy, supposedly, because you cannot trust people. You put a stamp so you don't have to have the permission. The permission is there, so you can take the child out of the country anytime you need. So the lawyer says never have this, okay? Never sign any permanent permission, you know, that will would allow Mustafa to take his son at will. Okay, if uh, if Mustafa, when he's visiting the son, asks to go somewhere, someone else has to go with him. Always go together, like mom, babysitter, like her mom, Victoria's mom, and the babysitter. Um, so every time he comes to visit, have security at home and outside. Wow, my God. This almost looks sounds like a mafia movie. Oh my God. Especially if the Mustafa's parents happen to be in Brazil. Okay. It is very important that Victoria moves to a secure place, a place that has security, like some sort of, like someone asks where you're going, you know, before you enter the place. I thought it was really important, a comment in this. I don't know if it's this video or another video. Someone said that these are both people with money. Okay, this is really important to for everyone to understand. It would be better if Victoria never has the same babysitter, that she keeps changing them. Why? Because money can exchange hands and off your kid goes, you know. It's okay, not everyone is honest, you know. It would be better not to just overly trust someone. That's one of the commenters. I think they're probably right, but I don't know what she is doing right now. So Danny said that right now, actually Victoria says that Mustafa seems to be agreeing with everything. However, Danny Bougion says that eventually will change because the whole mess is just starting. Continuing this story, there was one day that the mother-in-law called and told Victoria to warn her, please warn me, when it's about time to the delivery, because when the baby is about to be born. Okay, so side note from me, Victoria, do you have knowledge of this new wonderful thing called blocking? You know what it is. You just block the person. Oh my God. Anyway, so the mother in law intends to stay in Brazil for the first 3 months because She says Victoria is a newly mother and she doesn't exactly know how to take care of a baby. Ai, meu Deus, meu Deus. Victoria very calmly replied, how can you be calm? Calm? I don't know. How can you? Oh my God. She replied that she is welcomed, like the mother in law is welcomed to meet the baby. No, my opinion is no. No, she is not. That's just me, but this is what Victoria says. But she's a doctor. Victoria is a doctor, and she'll have the help also of her mother and the nurse. Okay, so no need to worry. You don't need to stay here. Okay, I don't know how she keeps her cool. I really don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Um, Once again, Danny, who really knows about this type of thing because she's been advising women in this type of situation for a very long time, she gives another good advice to get a note from the doctor, okay? A medical document attesting that for health reasons, after the delivery, Victoria cannot receive visitors with the exception of the father, which is not a lie. Victoria has a condition called I don't know how to say this in English. In Portuguese is thrombophilia. And she had to take a treatment, which is like with the injections, just to keep her baby. So this is not a lie. And with all this stress, she had 5 miscarriages before. Oh my God. So yeah, like this is what Danny says. Just get a doctor's note. You won't be able to receive any type of visitors with the exception of the father. My question is why is she still talking to the mother-in-law? No, God, no. Another thing, isn't this in oh my God, just revelations upon revelations. The mother-in-law also revealed that she was with Yasmin. Do you remember her? In London. She was with Yasmin in London. She got the job. She got the job that she was prepping with Mustafa, and we'll be living there. Well, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice that Yasmin will be living in London? Okay. So, most probably, that's what Victoria says, they are together. Mustafa and Yasmin, they probably are together, okay? Uh, so, Dani again gives a very good advice. Don't let your child, your baby boy, leave the country, leave Brazil for any reason. Even if mommy, the mother-in-law, is dying, okay? Let her die in peace and go to hell. This is my side note. And go to hell and meet the devil and don't go and visit, okay? So, another thing that I did not know, and I'm sharing here because I think people should know. Everything is proof. Every message, every text, every phone call, everything is proof and should be collected and preserved. So the Victoria's lawyer said to record everything. Okay? Mustafa decided to call and share a new idea, a new solution. Well, isn't he smart? Isn't he intelligent? What about 15 days in Brazil and 15 days in London? Or like a month in Brazil and a month in London? This guy is so rational, so intelligent. Oh my God. Um, so, and this arrangement, according to Mustafa, would go until the child is old enough to study, and then they can both come back to London. So it doesn't give up this idea of London. It feels to me that he wants two wives. May God forgive me, but forgive me, yeah. But that's what I'm thinking. Like I think he's already regretting this situation, and he will be having Yasmin, and he still wants his wife. I don't know. I don't know. Is Mustafa having regrets? I think so. So she said no. Victoria said she said no. That would be too much stress for the baby, which is correct. And I won't be coming back to London. That she said that I won't be coming back to London. Also, she won't let his mother uh, getting to Brazil and visiting the baby. She also reveals that she will be talking to the lawyer to cut those possible visits from the mother-in-law. Okay, so in another, this is the end of the video. I think this is video number 3. There's more videos I will be sharing here. Okay. I think eventually in other videos, Dani said that Victoria revealed that she's a Virgo sign. But I think just listening to her, the patience that this woman has, she might have something in Libra because she wants to make peace at all levels. She doesn't matter. She wants to sacrifice herself so much. Like the peace is the most important thing. She might have something in Pisces too. I'm sorry, I'm thinking astrologically, but oh my God. Oh my God. So this is where things are. Okay. Do come back because there's more. There's more than this. Okay. I hope you are enjoying this little story. And if you're interested in this little painting that I did, which is a original, I won't be doing prints of this. So no one else will have access to it, only you. And you can look at it and just imagine all sorts of stories here. I see clans and I see families. And it's more like clans and species, whole species, like traveling through the universes and to form new places, go and live in new places, go and have new homes. So this is called the Explorers. Again, my email is dunyazade@gmail.com. I hope you like this story. That's it. Bye bye.